Every crime leaves a trail, but not every trail leads answers. Here, we follow the cases that haunt, the mysteries that linger, and the truths buried in darkness. Welcome to Veil of Mysteries.
The father who discovered his son's darkest secret. On the surface, the Wilson family looked like any other in their quiet suburban town. John Wilson, a hardworking mechanic, lived for his family, his wife, and especially his 19-year-old son, Daniel. To John, Daniel was his pride. A bright student, respectful, and always the kind of boy neighbors admired. But behind Daniel's shy smile was something John never could have imagined. It began with small signs, things John brushed off at first. Late nights when Daniel wouldn't come home until dawn. Strange phone calls that he always took in whispers. A set of locked drawers in his room that John wasn't allowed to touch. One evening, after Daniel had left for study group, John noticed a blood stain on the cuff of his son's hoodie lying in the laundry basket. His first thought was that Daniel had gotten into a fight. But something about the deep maroon color, and how Daniel had tried to hide it, gnawed at him. The unease grew heavier the more John looked around. He found receipts for large purchases his son shouldn't have been able to afford, electronics, expensive sneakers, and even tools he couldn't explain. Then came the night John followed him. Daniel drove far outside town, parking by an abandoned factory. Hidden in the shadows, John's heart pounded as he watched his son carry a duffel bag inside. Hours passed. When Daniel finally left, John waited until the coast was clear and went in. What he found froze him in place. Inside were walls covered in disturbing photographs, news clippings of missing pets, and even faces of local people. There were notebooks filled with obsessive writings, tracking movements, patterns, fears. And in the middle of the room was a wooden box. John opened it with trembling hands. Inside were items that belonged to people he recognized, things that had been reported stolen, and worse, a necklace he remembered seeing on a missing girl's poster at the grocery store. By the time John got home that night, his hands wouldn't stop shaking. He didn't sleep. He didn't tell his wife. He couldn't. How do you look at your son the same way, knowing he might be living a double life? The next day, Daniel returned, acting like nothing was wrong. He smiled at his father, asked about dinner, laughed at a joke on TV. But all John could see was the secret, the darkness behind his son's eyes. John faced an unbearable choice: protect his son, the boy he raised and loved, or expose him to the world as the monster he feared he had become. And as Daniel disappeared again that night, carrying another duffel bag, John realized the truth. Whatever his son was hiding, someone else's life might depend on what he decided to do next.